Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Pure Finesse as we continue our game picks for every week in the NFL. Last week, we stay winning with the bold picks
Yeah.
because Malcolm doesn't want to believe in me. It's all right. It's not the end of the world.
No.
But we went 11-4 last week to take the 4 game lead on Mr.
Yeah.
Govia. So
Only
134, 60, and 1.
yeah. So I went 9-6 last week, not picking the games Jay picked, obviously, and went now I'm 130, 64 and 1. So yeah, like Jay said, the 4 game lead now. Only a few weeks left too here. So
Right. There's
gotta
only 3 more weeks to go.
exactly.
So playoff pushes in both the NFL and your fantasy lineups will be coming down to the wires. We only have again 3 weeks to go, so I don't know what I'm gonna be doing on Thursdays, Sundays, Saturdays, and Mondays come the end of January. It's gonna be some sad times. But
Well, there'll be some NBA and NHL on, hopefully.
oh yeah, we say that term loosely. But
Yeah.
we go first with the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore favored by a modest 13 points. There's a lot of those spreads this week, so
Yeah.
this could be the week we finally have a perfect week, eh?
It could be, but with some of the picks that I'm picking, I don't think you're gonna think I'm gonna have a perfect week. But with this game, I think
You think you're
Baltimore.
taking an upset?
No, this one I think Baltimore is going to win. I think Lamar is going to have a day. Jacksonville's 30th in the league for rushing yards allowed with 145.5 a game, which is ridiculous. The fact that they're only 30th is crazy to me. But I think their rush offense, this is what they want. This is the defense they want to play against because they just want to run the ball. Lamar doesn't like throwing it. You can tell this year, and his receivers are upset. So I think Baltimore is going to easily win this one.
Yeah, I do. I think so too. And they're coming off arguably the game of the year
Oh, yeah.
last Monday night against the Browns.
Yep.
So it was definitely a slobber knocker. But yes, Baltimore got back to their identity of running the football and smash mouth football.
Hmm.
And to do it against the worst rushing defense in the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, I think is a no contest.
Yeah.
Next up is the Houston Texans going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Indy 9-4, pushing for a wild card spot, pushing for the division, still tied with Tennessee.
Yeah.
They are second behind the Browns in the wild card chase, 1-2. So they need this game. They obviously don't want to be in a wild card position. And Houston, they're just playing with house money right now. I'm sure they want to be tanking for a better draft pick. So who do you got in this one? Indy favored by 7.5.
Well, just to mention, Deshaun Watson, he has two times where he's had 200 pass attempts, like two streaks, separate streaks, 200 pass attempts, no interceptions. He's went into games against Indianapolis. Kenny Moore has picked him off both games, both times.
And
I
we
think
know what happened with Kenny Moore 2 weeks ago,
yeah,
or last week,
exactly.
I guess,
Was it
with that
last week?
unbelievable interception.
Yeah, that was a nasty
Yeah, it threw me
one-hander.
off with the Thursday night games,
Yeah.
Saturday
But
night games this
I
week.
think I think Kenny Moore has Deshaun Watson's number, and I think Indianapolis really needs this win. And it will be a good game to watch, but I think Indianapolis will win this one.
Yeah, I think so too. T.Y. Hilton had a very nice game for the first time in
Yeah,
a while last week against the Vegas Raiders. So hopefully he can get back on the same foot. But I think they're kind of switching their identity from being Philip Rivers throwing the ball to running the football more, right? Naheem
yeah.
Hines, Jonathan Taylor. Uh, so they're but another rookie who's kind of being not talked about as much as he should be is Michael Pittman Jr.
Pittman
He's a
Jr. is good
style,
too. Yeah,
huge games the last couple of weeks. He's getting picked up in some fantasy leagues, averaging around 10, 12 points a game. So he's having some nice numbers without throwing the ball as much as they want to be. Detroit Lions going up against Tennessee Titans, like we said, tied with Tennessee for the AFC South division lead. So again, they are going to need this win, but again, it's another lopsided spread. Tennessee
yeah.
favored by 10.
Jeez, man. I all these lopsided games this week, and I want to go for the underdogs, but I think Tennessee and Derrick Henry against this D line is are just Derrick Henry's going to eat because like we're going to go back 28th in the league for Detroit in rushing yards allowed per game, 132.8 per game. Derrick Henry, I think, is just going to have a day today. You have him in fantasy. He's going to carry you in fantasy, even though he carried me last week and I lost. But I think he's gonna have a good day. I don't think Detroit is strong enough at all to hold this offense. Maybe Matt Stafford, he pulls a few strings and makes it a closer game, but I think Tennessee will win this one. I don't think it's gonna be a huge blowout like everyone expects, though.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the stat was that Derrick Henry is now has the most 200-yard games with multiple touchdowns in NFL history. I
I
think
wouldn't
he
be
broke that
surprised if
last
that's
week.
trivia.
I think that's what the stat was, but something along those lines with 200
Jeez.
rushing yards. So he's just a freak of nature. So
Yeah.
Tennessee, I think, will win this one handily. I think Detroit doesn't stand much of a chance against Tennessee. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Atlanta Falcons. They are favored by 6.5. Tampa Bay is. I don't think there's much of a contest here, but there's this question mark on Julio Jones
Yeah,
going into today. I don't know if he's playing or not.
Hammy
You saw
Julio.
how great Calvin Ridley played without Julio Jones last week. So if Julio Jones isn't playing, it's gonna be a day for Calvin Ridley. But I do see Tampa Bay winning this one. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's a nice little Super Bowl rematch from Brady against Ryan. Like they'll go at it with each other. But like you said, Hammy Julio is just having his hamstring injured every second week, so it sucks to see. Calvin Ridley, though, he's proven that he can be a number one wide receiver, so I think he'll have himself a day against Tampa Bay too. Tampa Bay's defense has been at the start of the season they were great, and then they
Red
started
hot.
yeah, they're red hot, and now they're doing good again too. So I think that, like you said, I think Tampa Bay will pretty much win this one with an easy win over Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. AFC East matchup. Next is the New England Patriots going off
Yeah,
against the Miami Dolphins.
love this one.
Miami humbled last week against Kansas City. I think the game was closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
Miami jumped out early. 30-yard sack from Mahomes, couple uncharacteristic interceptions from Mahomes.
Yeah,
But
a
they
few of those.
exactly. So Miami's, because of that performance, is only favored by 1.5 points. So is this game closer than people think it's going to be?
I don't think so. I don't think Miami will be needing any miracles this time around against New England. They have Xavier Howard, who has 9 interceptions this year. Do you think he's going to make a case for Defensive
He
Player of the
has to
Year?
be.
He has to be, right?
Absolutely, he has to. Because I don't know. Like I don't really want to say. Obviously, your boy in the steel,
Yeah,
yellow
TJ.
and black is T.J. Watt. I think is
Yeah,
obviously the front runner to be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
yeah,
But yeah, secondary wise, I think it's Kenny Moore or it's going to be Xavier Howard. Either or.
exactly. He has 9 interceptions. That's more than how many teams I saw. It was like 6 or 7 teams. He has more interceptions alone. That's and
Yeah,
like
so I guess we were wrong about
I was
Miami's defense overperforming.
I was gonna say that. I was just gonna say we kept saying, oh, they're overperforming, but they're being consistent, and Howard's being that consistent guy and pulling in every game. So I think this one will be not an easy win, but it'll be a pretty good win for Miami.
I'm going with the Patriots.
Wow.
Probably going with New England. Bill Belichick knows this division pretty well, so you
Yeah.
know how tough they played the Bills,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
true.
just clinched the division last night, first time in 25 years. Out to you. So yeah, I think this game is going to be flipped. I think New England's going to win. They
Wow.
just Bill Belichick, you can't count him out against his own division. Speaking of division, the NFC North,
Yeah.
Chicago Bears going up against the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is the biggest game at the 1 o'clock schedule
Yeah.
because both these two teams still have a chance to make the wild card spot.
True.
A wild card spot. Only Minnesota's only a game behind Arizona, 7-6, or I guess 8-6 now they won. But yeah, Minnesota 7-7, so they can catch. Favored by 3. Dalvin Cook, he ate last time against Chicago.
Hmm.
So does it stick? Do you stick with the purple and yellow in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little Cook versus Hicks action again. They know they have that little rivalry between them. Um, I think, but I do think Minnesota is gonna win this one. I think Dalvin Cook is gonna have his way again. I think he has these guys' numbers, and they've been pushing since they started off rocky at the beginning of the season, but they've been pushing and winning games. So I think they continue to win a couple more games in the last 3 weeks, and they'll make a push for that playoff spot.
Mitch Trubisky has been playing some good football for
Yeah,
Chicago over the last couple of games. I feel really bad for Allen Robinson. Like the
yeah,
poor
he's
guy has never
amazing, man.
had, I would say, a decent quarterback ever
Yeah,
since he's been in the league. He's got Blake Bortles, he's gotten Nick Foles, and he's gotten Mitch Trubisky, and he's he's a Pro Bowl receiver with these quarterbacks. So
exactly.
imagine you put him on a good team and see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be sticking with the Vikings.
Okay, good.
I really don't see any scenario how Chicago's going to have to play with their hearts. Like I think they want to make the playoffs, but I don't think it's an attainable feat for them to do. Minnesota is playing very good football, and they realistically do. They have a chance to make the playoffs,
Yeah.
so they will win this one. The Jalen Hurts Philadelphia Eagles
Ooh.
going up against Seattle, favored by 6.5. They're coming off a bounce back win over the Jets after losing to the Giants. Philly playing with house money. They're
Wait,
still in,
Philly.
I believe, Philly. No.
Oh, were you talking about Arizona? Sorry, I was thinking about someone. I thought you said someone else for a second.
Oh,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
I thought you said Seattle. I was like, what? Yeah, yeah, Philly.
But yes, Philly, Jalen Hurts undefeated at quarterback. Carson Wentz
Yep.
still not happy
Mm-mm.
being the backup because they're believing in Jalen Hurts right now as much as they should be. Because if you can beat the New Orleans Saints with
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, it's a pretty good recipe for success. So you again, Seattle doesn't have the best defense in the world. So who do you think wins this one? Oh, it's Seattle and Washington. I'm an idiot.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was saying. I thought you said Arizona. That's why I was saying. Do you want to say
Yes.
it? Which game do you want to talk about right now? Want to
Let's
talk
do
about the Arizona?
Seattle Washington. We're on the subject.
Okay, okay.
So the spread is still 6.5.
Yeah.
Washington's front seven against Seattle. Russell Wilson. You know how that worked out for Seattle last time they played a good defense in New York.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I think this one's going to be a closer game than everyone expects. I think the Washington defense is going to step up big. But Dwayne Haskins is starting, and because of Alex Smith's injury, so he's out. Seattle, they lost a few games against the Rams and against the Giants, and they don't like that. When you lose against the Giants and lose against a team and your team that's supposed to be like one of the top teams, you don't like to see that. I don't think that Washington will be able to pull this one off. I think Seattle will have to win this game because they have to prove that they're a legitimate contender. So I think they really want to come out and prove that they are. But I think it's going to be a closer one than everyone expects, but it's going to be Seattle.
Yeah, I do see Seattle winning this one too. I just think Dwayne Haskins just has too much of a loose cannon
Yeah.
at quarterback. You know, if he had a bit more discipline, like Alex Smith
Yeah.
or Colt McCoy, you saw Colt McCoy play very well
Yeah.
against Seattle. But again, it's not that hard to play well against Seattle's defense. But Dwayne Haskins is pretty careless with the football, pretty good turnover machine. So does not suit well against a pretty good ball hawk and Jamal Adams in Seattle's defense. San Francisco 49ers going up against the Dallas Cowboys, still in the hunt for the NFC East Championship division
Crazy.
crown. Can't believe I'm still saying that. But San Francisco favored by 3. Does Dallas pull off the upset?
A huge rivalry game here, like one of the biggest rivalries in NFL.
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Yeah, Dallas is up 18, 17-1 in this rivalry, and I do think that they're going to make it 19, 17-1. I think Dallas will win this game over San Francisco. I don't know, a lot of people might disagree with me here because Dallas is Dallas, and San Francisco has been playing okay with Nick Mullins, but I think Dallas they won last week or was it 2 weeks ago?
They lost to Baltimore
They lost to
2 weeks
Baltimore.
ago.
So it was
And
last
who
week.
did they play
Cincinnati, I think they beat.
last week.
No,
That's right.
it
And
was
you picked
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati to win.
Okay, so they beat Cincinnati, and I
Cincinnati to win.
I know
They blew out Cincinnati 3-7.
exactly, and I know Cincinnati's not a great team, but San Francisco is not a whole lot better, and I do think Dallas will win this one because of it.
I'll be picking the 49ers to win it. It's a pretty good secondary out in San Francisco. Richard Sherman's finally back. They have the healthy Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk's been playing very well. But Raheem Mostert, I don't think, is going to be playing.
No.
He's questionable. So it's going to be a lot of backups like it usually has been for San Francisco this year. Because honestly, if they weren't bit so hard by the injury bug this year, they would be in some serious conversation of making a division run.
Yeah.
New York Jets, still without a win, going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Favored by again, modest 17.5-point favorites.
Boom, boom. Lock of the week, man.
That's the lock of the week for sure. Anybody on LA you have? Start
Jared Goff.
The Jalen Hurts Philadelphia Eagles,
Here
like
we
I
go.
mentioned previously, is going up against the Arizona Cardinals. A very intriguing quarterback matchup. Jalen Hurts,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, both two Oklahoma boys going at it in Arizona. Arizona favored by 6. They need this game. So does Philly.
So does Philly, and because they're still in the hunt too. Like everyone's in the hunt. I think it's going to be kind of a shootout kind of match because you saw what Jalen Hurts can do against one of the top defenses in the league. Kyler Murray and his offense are lethal. They just have to get on the same page, and once they're all on the same page, they're pretty unstoppable. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Arizona will win this one.
Yeah, you saw how well Kyler Murray and Arizona's offense played against I would say, the most underrated defense in the league in New York
Yep.
last week. And you saw Hassan Reddick put up 5 sacks against Colt, or I guess it was Daniel Jones last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Arizona's feeling themselves a lot coming into this week. And I would say Jalen Hurts is feeling himself this week because, beating the 10-2 New Orleans Saints team is nothing short of awesome. And you had obviously Taysom Hill was the quarterback that night.
Yeah.
But still a great feat nonetheless. But I do see Arizona pulling off this win. But it's, again, like you said, it's going to be a lot closer than 6 points.
Yeah.
Game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs going into New Orleans to play the Saints. Drew Brees will return
Back.
after breaking 11 ribs and a punctured lung just 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
That's crazy. He's a warrior to be doing this like right now. If he's coming back and playing this, and he's going to be, I don't know. He's gonna have to take some hits from Chris Jones maybe, and that's gonna be a hard hitting. That's a hard hitting guy. But they do have no Michael Thomas either because he's out with
Yes.
his ankle injury. That doesn't mean much though because they do have some good receivers. They still have Alvin Kamara. I think that, well, yeah, I think that New Orleans is going to win this game. I think they're going to pull off this upset, you could say, because Kansas City is such a lethal team with their offense with Kelsey Hill and Mahomes and Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They have a stacked offense, but I think New Orleans is going to pull this one off because I think it's about time Kansas City lose another game.
Well, before the Saturday football and Stephon Diggs doing Stephon Diggs things,
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey was leading the league in reception yards,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Crazy,
unbelievable as a tight
crazy
end.
man.
But I'm going to stick with you. I do think New Orleans is going to win this game.
And
Uh,
and yeah,
Very uncharacteristic game last week with that defense because it's one of the best units in all of football, and it's going to be a great matchup to see against Kansas City lethal offense. So hopefully they can quiet down Travis Kelsey, Ty Hill, and company. So I will be sticking with the Saints.
and one thing about
Here's
Kelsey too, just about Kelsey, since I forget what year it was, I think since he entered the league or since like 2015 it was, there's only been 3 players who have done what Kelsey has done over the past 5 years. Those players include Antonio Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. So he's in a class with 2 of the best receivers of this generation. You
mm,
can't deny that both of them are really good receivers. And he's a tight end putting up these numbers is just insane. But like we said, I think New Orleans is going to win it, but it's going to be a really close one because these offenses
yes.
are loaded.
Can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah.
Your Sunday night football matchup, my Cleveland Browns going up against the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. Cleveland, we don't have to document it that they lost arguably the best game of the year last week. Malcolm's he's trying to see the shave. I can see that little razor action. Yeah, he's waiting to see it. But they're going up against a good defense in New York. Cleveland favored by 6. Do you take the upset?
I take the upset,
Yeah, I knew
and
you would, of
there's no
course.
James Bradbury though this week because he's out, and
Wow, that's huge.
that is
That is
huge.
huge.
And that's been the fact that was like swaying back and forth. I'm like, oh, since no James Bradbury, are they going to pull up the upset? I think they still
And
will,
no Daniel Jones.
and no Daniel Jones, so they still have Colt
But you
McCoy
still
in.
take the upset?
I still take the upset. I'm not even just doing it because I hate the Cleveland Browns. I just think that the Giants are able to do it, and Cleveland. I know they had a great game last week. I don't think
Unbelievable game.
a huge game last week. You can't deny that. I don't think that they're going to be doing the same thing this week. So I'm going to stick with the Giants. Obviously, I know who you're
I
going to
don't
pick.
know. Well, Jarvis Landry came out last year when
Yeah.
this was supposed to be the year last year. Said we can easily put up 30 points against any team in the league. And you're seeing that this year. Like they are scoring some points. They score points at will. Like
Yeah, they
Baker,
do.
come on. With a minute and 20 seconds left in the game, you go 44 seconds down the field and score a touchdown when it mattered the most. Come on. Like you could not have asked for a better game from that Cleveland offense.
It was a great
Minus
game.
that
It was a great
minus
game.
the interception from Baker
Yeah,
on the 20. But hey, that was his first pick in 5 games.
which is crazy
Give
to
the
me
man a
'cause-
break.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Come
You
on.
can't criticize him when he's been playing great these past few games. I hate to
Oh, can
admit
you
it,
say
but
that
it's
one
true.
more time for me, Malcolm?
He's been playing great these past few games. I hate to admit it, but there's a reason why they're 9-3 or whatever and still in the division hunt. But they're not gonna win the division. So get
And
ready
this
to
is
shave
coming
half
from
your
this
face.
is coming from the biggest Baker hater in all of the land.
Yeah, but you can't deny what he's been doing. You
Yeah.
can't deny. Well, you see when a guy is playing football, you're not gonna knock him for it because he's still a human being. I'm not gonna
He's a
just say,
baller.
oh, you're awful because even though you're throwing 300 plus yards a game, throwing the 3 touchdowns
He
a game,
had a
I'm not gonna say
30-point fantasy night
exactly. You're not awful when you're doing that.
in the consolation semifinals. Cleveland Steamers had to put up Baker Mayfield last week, and you know what?
Oh,
He played out. So we got rid of the tattoo or whatever it is now because
I don't even know.
we're gonna win the consolation league.
Okay,
We're
okay.
gonna win it. We're gonna win it. But yes, Cleveland's taking this win. No James Bradbury. Watch out. Rashard Higgins is having a sneaky good second half to the season.
Yeah,
Sneaky good.
he has been.
Ever since OBJ went down with the torn ACL, he's been flourishing.
Yeah, he's
6
had to be that
receptions,
guy.
68 yards last week, a touchdown. That equals to let's do the Brock math. 21 fantasy points.
Jeez,
Exactly.
that's
So
not bad at all.
and against the New York Giants team without the best secondary or one of the best cornerbacks in all of football, he's gonna cook. The last game of the slate in Week 15, Monday night, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, sir.
I believe, if I do the math correctly, are 12-2
12-2, I think. Yeah. Oh,
against
are
Cincinnati.
you sure?
I
Wait,
don't
what week?
know.
I think it's 11-2.
Oh, let's find out. But anyway, they are favored by 14 points. They got to prove some people wrong.
Yeah, they got to prove that they can win another game because they
They are
lost. Yeah, the 11-2. So they lost to Washington. Washington had that great game where the defense played great, and they lost to Buffalo. And you see what Buffalo can do against a bad team where they put up over 40 points. And they still had a pretty close game with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh needs to get Deontay Johnson catching the ball because he's the most dropped
Yes.
catches in the league. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the most dropped catches in the league. Like I keep saying, the run
It's
game
not
has
like
to.
they're deep balls, man. They're all slants and
I know they're
pitches
all
and
slants and they're
wheel
just
routes.
they're trying to catch the ball and look at the same time. They have to watch the ball into their hands. That's all you have to do. Watch it into your hands and then run. And then we got the running game going. James Conner might be injured again with a quad injury. We're kind of banged up on defense, but I think against Cincinnati,
Yeah, you have to win.
we have to win. So I think
Exactly
picking
that.
Pittsburgh this week,
I
obviously.
think you lose all your confidence if you lose to the Cincinnati Bengals.
If we lose, I think it's going to be a first or second round exit if we lose to the Bengals here.
Yeah, I've been pretty correct the last 2 weeks on the Pittsburgh Steelers games for the other team winning. But I think it'd be stupid of me not to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one.
Yeah.
Like Cincinnati's just injury riddled. Like
Yeah.
no great playmakers. Obviously, T. Higgins. T. Higgins has played very nice for the Cincinnati Bengals, but Ryan Finley, I believe, is the quarterback.
Tyler
for
Boyd's been
Cincinnati
playing
this
good
week.
too.
Yes, Tyler Boyd's been playing very nice football. Joe
Mhm.
Mixon's been out for I don't know. It seems like the whole season.
I'm
But
saying.
that will do it for Week 15 in the NFL. Since we're on holiday break now, there's gonna be a lot more content in these next couple of weeks for
Mhm.
the better. So stay tuned because